welcome to The Claim. If you're a subscriber, welcome back, but if you're new to this channel, I suggest you just click the subscribe button and also the bell, so that way you can get future updates on what I'm doing. So, it's been a while since I posted a video, and because I've been working on several projects. So here's one of the projects I'd like to share with you. It's a new feeder hopper shaker deck. What it does is basically replace the trommel and feeder hopper that I had before in my previous videos. If you go back to the 2018 upgraded versions, you'll see my trommel as well as the little white feeder hopper that I have on top. Well, you know, the thing was okay, but it was not really breaking down all the material, so I decided to build a shaker deck instead to replace that. So come on in, I'll show you a little closer details of what this is all about. So let's start at the top and work our way down. Okay, if you notice, there's no spray bars here on this shaker deck, but really there is. This center bar going down the middle here is actually the sprayer. Now I know this is very unconventional because most of the time you see spray bars that are going around the perimeter of the hopper spraying downward. And you know, and that works because you got these little jets spraying down on the material. But the problem is that what happens if the rock is in a certain position, that sprayer hits that rock and the water ricochets out of the hopper, so you lose water. And when we're out here in the desert, you got to really conserve a lot of water. It's precious, so you don't want to lose any. So what I've done is I've developed a single bar down the middle, and I know it sounds crazy, but it has several slits in it, so it actually sprays downward on the material, kind of like in a pie shape. So it's sort of like when the rocks are rolling down on this punch plate, it's actually going down like through a car wash. And so the rocks are just getting sprayed all the way down and breaking down while this floor is shaking from the vibrator underneath. So yeah, you can say that, okay, you can pour rocks on here and the rocks will eventually break this, but you know what? This is 1-inch conduit pipe, okay? And it's pretty super strong. I mean, it'd take quite a beating before this thing would even bend or break or anything like that. It just also so happens that 1-inch conduit pipe, electrical conduit pipe, also fits 3/4 inch PVC pipe. So consequently, I'm able to mate the PVC plumbing to the ends of this. So I have the main feed coming in here on this side, and then I have another end where I have a cap that unscrews so I can actually purge the line if I have to. And then everything else sprays downward. So, all right, so then the hopper itself is attached by a series of springs and clamps here that hold it up, so it just sits there and vibrates and shakes around. And this hopper is made out of 18 gauge cold steel. Now in the future, I may make it out of stainless steel. And by the way, this is kind of a prototype for a future wash plant design that's going to be portable. This whole thing is all going to be on a trailer, so it'll be super easy. It'll just wheel right to the site, set it up in a couple of minutes. It'll all be factory set with all the angles, and bang, you're ready to go. So that's what I'm looking to in the future. That's some of the other things I'm working on. But anyway, back to this. Okay, so we have this punch plate here. This is 3/8 holes in here, and it just lays right on top. And if you notice here, you notice how this has a steeper slope than the actual hopper itself. And we'll get into this a little closer detail here in a minute. But this allows the bigger rocks to roll down the chute here and to flow out, while the finer material drops down onto the floor of the hopper. Now that's where the vibrator is underneath it. So that's where it's getting most of the vibration. Okay, so therefore even the smaller particles that drop down get hit with more vibration and break up even further. But I've also got the angle slower, so that way it has more time to travel, a few more seconds down to the end before it drops onto the sluice at the bottom. So basically the trommel and the feeder hopper from before is completely eliminated. So with that, now we'll just go on the underside and I'll show you the mechanism that causes the vibration. So we're looking under the shaker deck here, and this is a 12-volt motor. It's a 4.5 amp, 12 volt, and it turns at 2100 RPM. There's also a universal joint that's used for servos sitting right here that bridges the motor to the drive shaft. The drive shaft is mounted on 2 pillow block bearings that are 1/2 inch diameter, of super heavy duty pillow block bearings, and the shaft is a 1/2 inch carbon steel shaft, and then on top of it is a 3/8 square bar mounted here that causes the counterweight to rotate around. So this is what's causing the vibration. Of course, it's spinning like at 2,000 RPM, so therefore it's creating a pulse, 2,000 times a minute. So this is a really high frequency vibration, higher than most standards, and this is what helps breaks down the hard, clumpy material that's really resilient to the other types of washings and stuff. So this works really well. So this is what actually is turning this. So I'll go ahead and turn it on so you get an idea. That's what it does. And that's how she works. Okay, there's one other thing I want to show you that's actually underneath this upper deck here, what we have down inside. So I'm going to go ahead and take all these bolts out and lift off the screen, and we'll show you what's going on inside. Okay, take the deck off here and show you what's going on the other side. Now you see here we got our bolt pattern for our motor mounts and also for the bearings here. But you notice right down here, there's another punch plate, okay? This is these are 1/8 holes on this punch plate, and what this does is that it's mounted right here, but it's free floating on this end. So what happens is that as the thing is working and vibrating, this plate is actually shaking, okay? So that way as the rocks roll over all this, they're actually getting bounced around, and then if there's any extra debris, material that's still hanging on to it, they'll actually get knocked loose, and then of course the finer stuff drops through the bottom, and of course eventually it all ends up down in the sluice. So this is just a little extra feature to help get those rocks, loosened up and broken down. All right, we'll go ahead and put this thing back on, and we'll get this thing fired up and show you how it works. Okay, so we got the sprayers going, and you see how well it fans out, covering the whole punch plate. Now I am losing a little bit of water down here at the end, but that's okay. I'll modify that to correct that in the future. But everything then flows down onto the sluice. So now what I want to do is demonstrate the type of material that I'm running. This is really hard, gooey clay when it's wet, but when it's dry, it's super hard and brittle. So if I put this up here, watch how it just immediately just breaks right down to nothing. And as it goes right through the car wash, see how it separates out? Everything's falling apart. So by the time it gets down to the end, all that's left is just these rocks that are completely washed. I'll show you again here. Whoops, get that back in there. And you see how slowly this moves down, but it's slowly breaking it all up. So let's go ahead and run some material through this. So what's doing right now is it's breaking down all the material. All the fine stuff is already dropping through the punch plate, getting down in here. And of course all the other rocks are just getting washed like a car wash. And they're slowly getting cleaned as they're slowly dragging down. So now let's go ahead and put a bucket of material down here and see how it does. So this allows plenty of time for all this material to feed through. It's going through the sluice, washing down, slowly breaking down. That way you can do other things like getting another load of material to put in here while it's slowly working on this. This will run approximately a 5-gallon bucket in less than a minute. So therefore, it takes 40 5-gallon buckets to equal a cubic yard. So you can basically run a yard of material in under an hour with this thing. As you watch it slowly breaking down, and look at these rocks. Look how clean they are. Isn't that amazing? They're absolutely whistle clean. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Everything's broken down, nicely clean. As you can see, everything is flowing. There it is down in the sluice. We'll get down here in the sluice. You can see it as it's flowing down, coming down over the riffles. Everything, and we're stepping out to the dewatering trommel. You can see the water underneath it filtering out. And then we're coming down to the waste tailings from the sluice. And you can see it all kind of piling right down out into the bucket. Now all the material, or excuse me, all the water is flowing into this secondary tub where I have a 400 mesh and a 200 mesh filter screening out all this that's coming through. So when it finally moves into the other tub, the final pump tub, it's pretty well purified. There's very few floating particulates. So then it gets pumped back up with the motor. This is a 1.5 inch trash pump, gas powered. You can hear it's only running on idle, and that's all it needs, enough to make everything work. It's pretty amazing. Okay, we're just finished doing our clean out. Ran about a little over a half a yard this afternoon, and we'll see what kind of gold we've got here. So go ahead and I'll bring it up to the camera so you can see it a little better. This is a Maverick pan by Snake River Products that I'm using. All right, we'll start to work the cut here, start cutting it down. And we're already starting to see a little bit of gold showing up on the top here of the black sand. Black sand here on this claim is really super heavy. Okay, I'll slow it down. You can kind of see all the black sand, or I mean, excuse me, all the gold kind of smattered all through the black sand there. You can see some of the gold trailing off over here. I'll bring it up to the camera a little closer. Hopefully we can see it a little better. There we go. Hopefully it stays in focus. And we can see some of the gold that marching on across the field here. So we got a lot of fine stuff. Here we go. And it looks like we got a picker kind of showing up right here in the corner. There we are. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. There's a few more nice pieces. That's actually a piece of dirty gold. One side is dirty and the other side's kind of shiny. So, yeah, there we go. And I don't know if the camera resolution is showing this, but you can see, like, 100 mesh, 200 mesh pieces of gold skating along the bottom here. All right. Let's see if I can kind of capture some of that so we can see it a little better here. All right, so I'm going to bring this up to the camera as much as possible. I'm going to put my finger in here so hopefully the camera will focus on it. We can see the picker there. And I'll bring it in as close as we can. You can see all the fine stuff just peppered all through the bottom of the pan here. So a lot of fine gold on this property, and that's how it is. And that's what the wash plant's all about. That's how it's able to recover all this stuff. Pretty good. All right, well, it just goes to show you that the shaker deck is working and doing its job. It's separating all that fine gold from all that gooey clay and doing well. So, all right, well, we'll fire it up and run it, make another run. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and also the little bell so that way you can get future updates. In the meantime, get out there and find some gold. Good luck to you, and we'll see you next time. Thank you again for watching.